I'm going to pray for us before we open real quick. Father, we just come to you right now, and Father, we just ask that you would speak to us today, and that this would be a message that encourages us, Father. We so much pray this in your name. Amen. Amen. So I'm encouraged already by those of you that have spoken and those of you that have said that you don't speak and you can't preach, you're liars. And, but I've been encouraged. I pray that this encourages you guys as well too. And I'm excited to get to know you guys more throughout the semester. And I started thinking about today, and I started toiling and struggling with what message to share with you guys. I didn't want it to just be the fulfillment of an assignment, but something that encouraged you guys, something that was meaningful, impactful, applicable to your lives. And I started thinking about that and the reason why we're all here today furthering our education, as I said earlier, so that we would be better qualified and better prepared for whatever the Lord has for us all outside of this classroom. And I started thinking about that more and thinking about the parable of the talents, as Brett shares a little bit with us earlier. I think we all want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. That we all want to live a life serving Him and loving Him faithfully. And I started thinking about that even more and reflecting on Jesus. And we're going to be in John chapter 13, looking at verse 3 specifically, if you want to flip there, and I'll fill it in a little bit. So what happens is Jesus has just come to Jerusalem. And verse 3, I think, is a very important part, the turning point. We're going to look at three things that come out of that empowers Jesus to the humility and to the service and the faithfulness that takes him to wash the disciples' feet, to endure persecution, to carry the cross to the hill, and to climb onto that cross for us there in those moments, because I think and I hope that your guys' desire is to live that same type of lifestyle and to serve the people that God has placed in your life the same way that Jesus served all of us there in that moment. And I question, what was it that empowered him to do that? What was it in Jesus' mindset to endure and to serve so faithfully? And I think that there's three things there in John 13, verse 3, that reveals that to us. And John 13:3 says, Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. Three things that Jesus knew that empowered him to bold humility, to serve so faithfully, that all things had been put under his power by God, that God had provided everything that he would need in that moment, and everything that he would have to endure and go through. God faithfully provided that for him, and he knew that, and he understood that. He knew that he had come from God. He knew that there was a reason that he was with God and had left his presence and come down here to earth to come and be here with us. He knew that there was a purpose in his placement. And finally, he knew that he was returning to God. He knew that whatever he was going to have to go through, even death, would end up there at the right hand of the Father. I pray this encourages all of you guys as you enter into ministry, as you guys exceed or go outside of this classroom, that you guys would be encouraged, that you would know God's provision, even if that provision was providing an education for you, right? That you would know God's provision in your gifts and your talents and your abilities, and that those provisions would lead you to his purpose for your life. That his placement, whatever opportunities, whatever people he has placed in your life, that there is a reason you come across that person, that there is a reason you have those passions and those desires and those abilities to be able to serve that person faithfully. That whatever comes against you, whether tragedy or triumph, you know that at the end of the road, you will get to the feet of the Father and you will hear, well done, good and faithful servant. Know his provision, know his purpose, and know your final destination.
Wow, that's so good. All right.